All right, I'm looking at this program you sent over, and I got to be honest. My first reaction, if I'm speaking for for the athlete in the room, is that the printer must have messed up.
It looks a little different, doesn't it?
Different is one word for it. It looks like chaos. It looks like someone just threw a bunch of exercises at a wall and wrote down what's stuck. And I know the guys in the locker room. I know how we think.
Mm-hmm.
We are creatures of habit, total routine junkies.
Mm.
We like knowing Monday at 2 o'clock we're squatting 5 sets of 5. And if that doesn't happen, the world's going to end.
Right. The schedule is the schedule.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this whole flexible, nonlinear thing, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like I'm walking into the team kitchen and the chef is asking me what I want to cook for dinner. It's confusing.
I get that. I
Right.
100% get that. And that skepticism, it's actually healthy.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because if you're a professional athlete, your body is your business. You should be protective of your routine. You've spent your entire life being told that consistency is the key, right?
Every single day.
You hit off the tee at the same time. You take ground balls at the same time. Routine is God.
It's the anchor. It's the one thing you can control in a season full of chaos.
Exactly. And for decades, the weight room was just another part of that rigid, predictable routine. You had your Excel spreadsheet,
Oh, yeah. The laminated sheet on the
a
wall.
laminated sheet, yep, probably printed out back in July, and it said September 14th, back squat 85%, 3 sets of 3. And it didn't matter what happened in the game last night.
It didn't matter if you got 0 sleep.
Didn't matter if your flight landed at 4 in the morning. The sheet said squat, so you squatted. And there's a certain comfort in that, I'll admit.
It feels organized. It feels like you're doing the work.
It feels safe. It looks like progress on paper. It feels like you're, like you said, earning your paycheck. You're grinding.
Yeah.
But, and this is the elephant in the room. This is why we need to have this conversation. That feeling of safety, that belief that the spreadsheet knows best.
It's not real.
It's a complete mirage. It's a lie. Because that spreadsheet makes one gigantic fatal assumption. It assumes you are a robot,
A machine.
a machine that operates in a perfect, sterile vacuum, but you are not a robot. You are a biological organism living in an incredibly chaotic, unpredictable environment.
That's the disconnect right there. The paper is static, but my life, especially in season,
Yeah.
it's just pure chaos.
Precisely. That spreadsheet has no idea you played 14 innings last night in 90-degree humidity.
No clue.
It doesn't know your flight got into Cleveland at 4 a.m. and the hotel didn't have your room, so you slept on the couch in the lobby for 2 hours.
Or that you're in a slump and stressing about your contract.
All of it. It doesn't know about the media pressure, the family issues, the sheer mental grind. None of that is on the spreadsheet.
So when I look at this flexible program with all its options and you call them pivots,
Yeah.
my gut reaction is that it's soft. It feels like it's giving me an out, an excuse.
And that's the hurdle, but I'm telling you, it is the absolute opposite of soft. If you think this is a hall pass to skip the hard days, you are dead wrong. This isn't about making training easier. This is about making your training profitable.
Profitable. I like that word. What does that mean in a weight room context? Performance is money, I get that. But profitable reps.
Think about it like an investment portfolio. Every single rep you do, every drop of sweat, it's an investment of your body's energy. And you only have a limited amount of that energy every day.
Right. It's a finite resource.
You want the highest possible return on that investment. You want every rep to turn directly into more power at the plate or more velocity on the mound or more speed on the bases.
An actual measurable result on the field.
Exactly. If you are just punching the clock, grinding out squats because a piece of paper told you to, but your body isn't in a state to actually adapt and get stronger, you're not investing.
What am I doing then?
You're just burning cash. You're doing manual labor. And manual labor doesn't hit home runs or throw 98 miles an hour.
Okay, so the mission for this deep dive today is not to be a science lecture. We're not going to sit here and read from a textbook. We are, for all intents and purposes, leaning on a squat rack in the locker room right now.
Yep. This is a weight room conversation.
And we need to explain, in plain English, why that old way, the perfect program on the calendar, is actually a trap, and how this flexible approach is maybe the only way to really survive and thrive in a modern pro season.
We're going to strip away the jargon, we're going to look at the biology, but we're going to do it in a way that makes sense to a guy who just wants to stay on the field and play better.
Let's start with the problem then. Because if you don't truly understand why the old way is broken, you'll never trust the new way. You call it the calendar fallacy.
Calendar fallacy, yes. It's the foundational error in almost all traditional strength and conditioning. It's this belief that your body operates on the same calendar that's hanging on your wall.
Like my muscles know it's Tuesday.
Right. Oh, it's Tuesday, so it must be power day. Or it's November, so it must be hypertrophy month. Your body doesn't own a calendar. Your body doesn't know the date.
What does it know?
It only knows one thing: the balance between stress and recovery. That's it. The traditional model, what the textbooks call linear periodization, that's that step-by-step approach.
The one we all grew up on.
The very same. Week 1 is light, week 2 is medium, week 3 is heavy, week 4 you back off. It looks beautiful on a graph. It's a perfect straight line going up.
And that's how we were all taught. Progressive overload, just add 5 pounds every week, forever.
And look, that works great in a vacuum if you live in a laboratory. And this is where the history of it is actually super important. Do you know where that whole model came from?
I'm guessing some smart sports scientists in a lab somewhere.
You're right. Specifically, the Eastern Bloc. The Soviet Union, back in the 50s and 60s, scientists studying their Olympic weightlifters. Now, I want you to picture the life of a Soviet Olympic weightlifter in, say, 1965.
I'm picturing a pretty controlled environment. Not a lot of variables.
Not even close to the life of a modern MLB shortstop. These guys were state-sponsored assets. Their only job was to lift weights.
That was it.
That was it. They didn't have to travel across 3 time zones for a Tuesday night game. They didn't have media obligations. They didn't have contract stress. They had perfect nutrition provided by the state. They had teams of doctors and massage therapists. And let's be blunt, they had a very, very sophisticated pharmaceutical program helping them recover.
So they were essentially living in a controlled lab experiment.
Exactly. They were lab rats. And in that kind of environment where you control every single variable, sleep, food, stress, drugs, then yes, you can predict with some accuracy that if you do X amount of work today, you'll be recovered and ready for Y amount of work on Thursday. The linear model works when life is linear.
But in the real world, in
Yeah.
professional sports,
In the real world, you control almost nothing, especially in a sport like baseball. You have the most chaotic schedule in all of professional sports.
no question.
162 games in about 180 days. Constant travel, rain delays, extra innings, day games after night games. It's brutal. The linear model assumes you are starting from a baseline of 0 fatigue every time you walk into the gym, but you are never starting from 0.
They're always in the hole a little bit. You're carrying the baggage from the last 3 days.
You're always carrying baggage. We call that concept interference. Or a simpler way to think of it is just stacking fatigue.
Stacking fatigue.
Think about it. You have different energy systems in your body, right? We have your muscles. You have your central nervous system, which is like the electrical wiring. You have your metabolic system, the fuel tank. When you play a game, you are draining the battery on all of those systems simultaneously.
So if I played that doubleheader yesterday, my battery isn't anywhere near 100% when I walk in.
Your battery might be at 40%, maybe 30. Now, here's where the calendar fallacy becomes dangerous. The calendar on the wall says, today is max effort squat day.
Which requires a full battery.
That kind of workout requires a 90 or 100% battery charge to actually be productive, to create a positive adaptation. But you're walking in with 40%.
So what happens when I try to do it anyway? Because that's the mentality,
Right,
like
push.
my mentality. Just push through it, be tough.
I know that mentality. And here's what happens. If you try to run a high-performance app on your phone when it has 5% battery, what does the phone do?
It crashes. Or just freezes up.
It crashes. In the weight room, if you try to max out on a squat with a depleted nervous system, you don't get stronger. You physically cannot produce the force required to create a strength adaptation. All you do is dig that recovery hole deeper.
You're just surviving the set. You're not winning the set.
You're just surviving. You're grinding out these ugly, sloppy reps. Your form starts to break down. So now you're not even stressing the muscle. You're putting dangerous stress on your ligaments, your tendons, your lower back. And from a biological standpoint, you're just flooding your system with more stress hormones like cortisol. So you aren't training your body to be powerful. You're training it to survive a threat. And maybe the most important part, you are training yourself to be slow.
Whoa, wait. Explain that. How does lifting heavy make you slow?
Because for an athlete, the goal of lifting heavy isn't just to lift the weight. It's to lift the weight fast. With intent, bar speed is a proxy for power.
Right.
But if you're so systemically fatigued that you have to grind that bar up over 5 seconds, you are literally teaching your nervous system the motor pattern for moving heavy loads slowly. You're programming your body to be a tractor instead of a Ferrari.
That is a terrifying thought for any athlete, but especially a baseball player. Speed is everything. Bat speed, arm speed.
It is. It's the whole game. And that's the fundamental failure of the rigid linear model in season. It completely ignores the reality of the athlete's life. It ignores the sleep debt. We have tons of data showing that one single night of 4-hour sleep can crush your neurological readiness for up to 3 days. 3 days from one bad night.
At least. It ignores the practice volume. It ignores the stress of being in a slump or trying to play through a minor injury.
So the perfect program on paper is actually a trap. It looks all neat and organized, but it's really just blindly driving you off a cliff because it refuses to actually look at the road in front of you.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's like navigating with a map from last year while keeping your eyes closed.
Okay, so rigid linear programming in season is out. It's just not smart. That brings us to the next step in the evolution, which was nonlinear training. Before we even get to the flexible part, what is nonlinear? Because I've heard that term thrown around a lot, and to me it just sounds like doing a bunch of different stuff without a plan.
Yeah, and that's a common misconception. Nonlinear was the first real attempt to move away from the robot model. It's also called undulating periodization.
Undulating.
The idea is actually pretty simple. Instead of spending 4 weeks doing only strength work, then abandoning that to do 4 weeks of only power work,
Yeah.
you mix them all up within the same week. So you're keeping all the skills sharp.
Think of it like a buffet, or maybe a conveyor belt is a better analogy. You have all these different qualities an athlete needs. You need hypertrophy, that's just muscle size. You need absolute strength, that's pure force production. You need power, which is the speed of that force. You need some endurance.
All different plates.
All different plates. In the old linear model, you'd load up on one plate for a month, then take it off the belt and put a new one on.
And by the time you got back to that first plate, it was cold. You'd lost what you gained.
Exactly. You'd get bigger in your hypertrophy phase, but then you'd shrink by the time you were in your power phase. It was one step forward, half a step back. Nonlinear says, let's put all these plates on the conveyor belt at the same time.
Okay.
So maybe Monday is our heavy strength day, Wednesday is our dynamic fast power day, and maybe Friday is a higher volume hypertrophy day. We hit all the key qualities every single week, or at least every 2 weeks. We keep all the plates spinning.
That just makes intuitive sense. You don't want to lose a quality just because the calendar says it's not the right month for it.
Of course not. Think about a pitcher's arsenal. A manager doesn't tell his ace, okay, for the entire month of April, you're only allowed to throw fastballs. In May, we'll start working on your curveball again.
That's insane. He'd get shelled.
It's completely insane. He needs all his pitches available all the time. He might emphasize one over the other depending on the game plan, but they're all in the holster. Nonlinear training does that for your physical qualities.
You're keeping the whole arsenal ready to go. I like that analogy.
And there's always a but. There's a limitation to that standard nonlinear model.
It's still a schedule.
It's still printed on paper. It's still on the spreadsheet. It says Monday is strength. It says Wednesday is power. It's a much better, much more athletic schedule than the linear one, but it's a schedule nonetheless.
So what happens if Monday rolls around? It's supposed to be heavy strength day, but you have the flu. Or you just play that 14-inning game we talked about.
The schedule still says strength.
And you're still running face first into that same brick wall. The calendar is dictating the training, not the athlete's actual state.
Correct. It's like a manager who runs his bullpen based on a pre-written script he made 3 weeks ago. Well, my script says Jones is pitching the 8th inning today.
But Jones has thrown 90 pitches the last 2 days. He's got nothing left.
Right. Or what if he has a stiff neck? If you put him in the game just because the script says so, you're going to lose.
He's going to get lit up.
Nonlinear gave us the right ingredients, the variety, but it didn't give us the responsiveness of a great chef. And that brings us to the solution, the final evolution. Flexible, nonlinear periodization.
This is it. The main event. Flexible. Now, I have to play devil's advocate one more time here. Because when an athlete hears the word flexible, I hear optional. I hear, if I don't feel like it today, I don't have to do it.
I know. That's the biggest mental hurdle we have to clear, and that's why we need to define it very, very clearly.
Okay, let's do it.
Flexible nonlinear periodization means having a comprehensive plan, a menu of necessary workouts, but changing the timing of that plan based on the reality of the day.
So the plan still exists. The destination is still the same.
The mission never, ever changes. Let's say we're in a 12-week block of the off-season, and the mission for that block is get explosive. That's the goal.
Get explosive. Got it.
To accomplish that mission, We know we have a list of workouts we need to complete. We have, say, 10 heavy lower body days,
Right.
10 upper body power days, 10 speed and agility sessions, and maybe 15 recovery and mobility sessions. They are all in the bank. We have to do them to succeed.
They're non-negotiable.
They're completely non-negotiable, but, and this is the entire secret right here, we do not assign them to specific dates on the calendar. We don't say October 12th will be a heavy lower body day.
We assign them to the body's readiness.
We assign them to the athlete's state. We wake up, we walk into the facility, we assess, and then we decide which of those non-negotiable menu items we are going to pull off the shelf and execute today.
And that's where this idea of defaulting a workout comes in, right?
Yes. Defaulting is the core mechanic of how this works in the real world. Let's walk through a classic scenario.
Okay.
You walk into the weight room. In a perfect world, on an ideal day, the plan I'd prefer for you is a heavy squat session.
Okay.
That's my plan A. But I take one look at you. Or maybe we do a quick objective test, a simple vertical jump test on a force plate. Or maybe we just use a subjective, how do you feel today, questionnaire.
And the data comes back bad.
The data comes back and shows you are toast. Your legs feel heavy, your motivation is low, and your vertical jump height is down 10% from your baseline. You're in the red.
Okay, so I'm in the red. What happens in the old system?
In the old system, I'd probably yell at you to stop being a wimp, drink some caffeine, and get under the bar. We'd grind it out.
Right.
In the flexible system, we default. We pivot. We say, okay, the heavy squat is not happening today. The biological cost is too high and the potential reward is too low. What can we do productively?
I don't just go home.
Absolutely not. Maybe we default to plan B, which could be an upper body hypertrophy lift. Your legs are shot, but your upper body is probably fresh. Or maybe we default to plan C, a low-level technical movement session, or a recovery and mobility workout.
So we're not skipping the work. We're just shuffling the deck to play the hand we were dealt today.
That's a perfect analogy. You still have to do the work. You don't get to go home and play video games. You are still training. But we are intelligently matching the high-intensity, high-stress workout to a high-readiness day and the lower-intensity, lower-stress workout to the low-readiness day.
This is what debunks that whole lazy myth. Because I can imagine if I walk in and say, Coach, I'm tired today. You say, okay, no squats. Let's just do some upper body beach muscles. Part of my brain might think I got away with something.
I get that, but you have to understand the rule.
What's the coach's rule?
You don't get to freeload. If we pivot you from heavy squats to an upper body day because your legs are dead, I expect you to have the best damn upper body workout of your life. Your arms are fresh, your chest is fresh, your back is fresh. There's absolutely no excuse not to crush that specific session with maximum intensity and focus.
You're just putting the energy where it can actually be used effectively.
We are maximizing the profit on your energy investment. If the stock market for legs is crashing today, we don't throw our money in there. We move our investment over to the arms market where it's booming. We take the win where we can get it.
And this flexibility, it must go both ways, right? It's not just about backing off on bad days.
Oh, this is the best part. This is the part athletes absolutely love once they understand it.
Tell me.
Let's flip the scenario. The tentative schedule, our plan A for Wednesday, was a light recovery day, just some foam rolling, some stretching. But you walk into the gym and you feel incredible.
The game got rained out yesterday.
The game got rained out, you slept 10 hours, you had a great meal, you're not sore. You are literally bouncing off the walls, you've got the green light.
A massive green light.
So I ask you, why in the world would we waste that incredible physiological state on a light stretch and a foam roll session? That is leaving a huge pile of money on the table.
So we changed the plan on the fly.
We pivot up. We say, forget the light day. That's canceled. We are doing the heavy power workout right now. We seize the opportunity. We catch that wave of readiness right when it breaks. We capitalize on that freshness to set a new personal record or move some serious weight with explosive speed.
That makes so much sense. You have to strike while the iron is hot.
You have to, because that feeling might not come back for another 2 or 3 weeks. And that's what true flexibility is. It bends to fit the reality of the day, good or bad, so that you are always, always training at the optimal level for that specific moment in time.
Okay, I am sold on the concept. The logic is sound. But I'm the kind of guy, and I know a lot of athletes are like this, I need to know the why, the biology behind it. In your notes you sent over, you used an analogy about the troops. And I promise the listener no textbooks, but this analogy, it really seems to click. It helps visualize what's actually happening inside the muscle.
We have to talk about the troops. If you understand this, you understand the entire science of motor unit recruitment without needing a PhD.
All right, break it down for me. Who are the troops?
Imagine your brain is the general. It sits up in the command center.
Hmm.
And your muscles are the army.
Okay.
Now, this army isn't all the same. You have different divisions of troops. First, you have your regular infantry.
The grunts, the everyday guys.
The grunts, exactly. In your body, these are your slow-twitch muscle fibers or type I fibers. They're incredibly reliable. They can march all day long without getting tired. They're great for things like walking, jogging, just holding your posture while you sit. They have amazing endurance, but they're not very strong, and they're definitely not fast.
They're low-cost troops.
Perfect way to put it. It doesn't take much energy or a very strong signal for the general to call them up.
Okay, so you've got the infantry. Then you must have the elite guys.
Then you have the special forces, the Navy SEALs, the Green Berets. In your body, these are your fast-twitch muscle fibers, your type 2 fibers.
The game changers.
These are the guys who win the war. They are huge, they're immensely strong, and they are unbelievably explosive. These are the fibers that hit the 500-foot home run. These are the fibers that throw the 98-mile-per-hour fastball. These are the fibers that give you a 40-inch vertical leap.
They're the money makers.
100% the money makers. But there's a catch, a big one. They are very, very expensive to deploy.
How so?
They require a massive amount of energy to activate. They fatigue extremely quickly. And most importantly, your brain and central nervous system operates on a very strict energy budget. This is a physiological law known as Henneman's size principle.
The size principle.
The principle basically states that your body is incredibly efficient. It's lazy by nature. It will never send the expensive special forces to do a job that the cheap infantry can handle.
Makes sense.
If you bend over to pick up a pencil off the floor, the general sends the infantry. It's an easy job. But if you bend over to pick up a 500-pound barbell, the general instantly recognizes the infantry can't possibly move it. So what does he do?
He has to make the expensive call.
Yeah.
He calls in the heavy artillery.
He calls in the special forces. Exactly. Now, here is where fatigue and interference ruin everything. To call in those special forces, your nervous system needs to send a very powerful, high-frequency electrical signal down the wire. It's a loud, clear shout.
A strong connection.
A perfect connection. But if your nervous system is fried, if that phone battery is at 40% from travel, bad sleep, and game stress, the general loses his voice. The signal gets weak and fuzzy.
The phone line is full of static, or it's just dead.
The line is dead. So you get under that heavy squat bar, you want to lift it, you scream, you grunt, you try with all your might. But the powerful signal isn't getting through. The special forces are sitting back in the barracks playing cards because they never even got the call to deploy.
So who's left trying to lift this 500-pound weight?
The poor infantry. They're trying to do a job they are not equipped or designed to do. They struggle, they shake. The movement is painfully slow and grindy. And here's the most critical part. Because you aren't activating the special forces, you aren't training them.
Without activation, there is no adaptation.
That is the golden rule of all training. If you don't stimulate the fiber, it has no reason to get bigger, stronger, or faster.
So I'm in the gym, busting my hump, sweating, feeling like I'm working my tail off. But I'm not actually training the exact muscle fibers that will help me play baseball better.
It's even worse than that. You're actively training your body to rely on slow, inefficient fibers for heavy, powerful movements. You are teaching your nervous system a bad habit. You are practicing being slow. And in sports, if you practice being slow, you become slow, period.
That is the absolute definition of junk volume.
It's biological waste. It's like a pitcher going to a bullpen session and throwing 100 pitches, but throwing every single one at 50% intensity. You got your arm moving, you got tired, but did you get better at pitching?
No, you just got tired.
You just got tired.
Yeah.
To throw 98, you have to practice throwing with maximum intent. And to have maximum intent, you need a fresh, ready nervous system.
So the entire point of the flexible approach is to act as a protection mechanism for the special forces.
That's it. It ensures that when we do schedule a heavy day or a power day, your battery is charged enough to actually make that expensive phone call. We wait for the green light so that the training is actually profitable.
I really love that phone battery analogy. It's so simple and so relatable. We all know that feeling of panic when your phone hits 10%.
Think about what your phone does. When it gets that low, it automatically goes into low power mode, right?
Yeah, the screen dims, apps stop updating in the background.
It starts shutting down non-essential functions to save every last drop of energy just to keep the core functions alive, like making a call.
Hmm.
Your body does the exact same thing. When you are systemically fatigued, your body goes into its own low power mode. It prioritizes survival heart beating, lungs breathing, brain functioning. It shuts down the expensive luxuries like explosive power and building new muscle.
And if you try to force high performance in low power
The
mode,
system crashes. That's when you get injured. That's when you burn out. That's when performance falls off a cliff.
let's make this even more concrete. I want to walk through some real everyday weight room scenarios because flexible sounds great in theory, but I want the athlete listening to this to be able to visualize what this pivot actually looks like on a random Tuesday in August during a road trip.
Great idea. Let's do it.
Okay, scenario A, the green light day. I walk in. I actually slept 9 hours last night for a change, had a great steak dinner. I feel bouncy. I feel fresh. But the sheet, the tentative plan, just says moderate volume or maybe a technical lift.
This is the easiest pivot to make, but it's the one that so many old school coaches miss. We see that you're primed and ready. We rip up the tentative plan. That goes in the trash.
And we sub in what?
We immediately switch to very heavy or maybe a contrast power day. We put 90% on the bar and tell you to move it as fast as humanly possible. We do box jumps, we do sprints, we take advantage of the opportunity.
But why change it? Why not just do the moderate day as planned and feel really good doing it?
Because true high readiness days are rare jewels during a long season. They are gold. If you are gifted one, you have to spend it. If we let you do a moderate, easy workout on a day when your body was capable of setting a new personal record, we wasted that opportunity.
It might not come back.
You might not feel that good again for 3 or 4 weeks. We have to be opportunistic predators. When the prey presents itself, we strike.
Okay, that makes sense. Scenario B, the opposite. The legs are dead day. This is the classic baseball grind. I played a doubleheader on turf. Or maybe we just had a heavy conditioning block on a hot day.
Yeah.
My hamstrings are tight, my quads are sore, my lower back feels like a piece of concrete.
But the rigid schedule says heavy squats.
Of course it does.
If we force you to squat, we're running into what some call a factory delay. Think of your muscles after a tough game. They are a construction site, they're damaged, there are little biological crews in there trying to repair the micro tears, clean out the waste products, and rebuild.
Okay.
If we go in there and drop a bomb on the construction site, which is what a heavy squat session is to already damaged legs, we don't help. We destroy all the repair work that's been done, the hole just gets deeper, and the factory delay gets longer.
So what's the call? What's the pivot?
The call is simple. We pivot to something like upper body hypertrophy, or maybe some dedicated core and stability work. We let the lower body construction site do its work uninterrupted, but we shift the training stress to the upper body.
Which is probably fresh.
Your upper body is likely totally fresh. We can get a massive profitable training effect for your chest, your back, your shoulders, your arms. We can still win the day.
So we are still training hard. We're just training a different zip code on the body map.
Exactly. We are intelligently redistributing the stress. The body isn't one big blob. It's segmented. If the legs are out of commission for a day, use the arms.
Okay, final one. Scenario C. This one is a little trickier. The structural fixed day. We'll say my shoulder feels a little pinchy. It's not a real injury. I don't need to see the trainer. But it's nagging me. I know if I try to do a heavy bench press, it's going to hurt.
But everything else feels great. Your legs are fresh.
Legs feel like $1,000,000.
This is where we have to get surgical. And this is where a lot of athletes make a mistake. They don't throw the whole workout away just because one joint hurts.
I see guys do that all the time. Oh, my shoulder hurts, so I can't lift today.
No, your shoulder hurts, so you can't bench press today. You can absolutely do a heavy safety bar squat. You can do heavy sled pushes. You can do belt squats. You can do a million things that build lower body power without stressing that shoulder.
We're pivoting around the problem area.
We protect the vulnerable area, but we continue to overload the healthy areas. This is absolutely crucial for keeping that conveyor belt moving. If we stop the entire training process every time one little thing hurts, the belt never moves forward.
You just take the bench press plate off the conveyor belt for a week or two.
But we keep the squat plate and the sprint plate moving full speed ahead. That's the key takeaway there. Don't let a localized, minor issue become a systemic, global excuse to do nothing.
I want to zoom out a bit now. We've talked about the X's and O's, the mechanics of the workout, but this requires a huge mindset shift from the athlete. You call this philosophy winning the day. What does that mean?
It means we have to completely redefine what a win in the weight room is. In the old linear mindset, winning was about compliance.
Did I do what the paper told me to do?
Exactly. Did I do what the paper said? If the answer was yes, I won the day. If the answer was no, I lost. It was black and white.
But in this new, flexible mindset,
Success is about adaptation. The only question that matters at the end of the day is, did I do something today that will make me a better athlete tomorrow? That's it. Sometimes getting better means lifting the heaviest weight of your life. And sometimes getting better means doing light stretching for 30 minutes and then going home to take a nap. Both can be wins.
if I force that heavy lift when I'm exhausted, even though I did the workout, I didn't actually get better. I just practiced bad form and dug a deeper recovery hole.
That's a loss. You checked the box on the spreadsheet, but you lost the biological battle. And this ties into a slightly more complex concept, but it's important. The idea of nested systems.
Okay, you promised to keep it simple. Nested systems. Sounds like it's from an engineering textbook.
I'll make it simple. Think of a Formula One race car. A race car is a system of systems, right? You have the engine, that's your muscular system.
Okay.
You have the fuel line and the gas tank, that's your metabolic and energy system. You have the driver, that's your brain and your nervous system. And you have the chassis and the tires, that's your structural system, your bones and tendons.
All those systems have to work together.
They have to work in harmony. But here is the unbreakable rule of all nested systems. The entire system is always governed by its weakest link on any given day.
If the fuel line is clogged, it doesn't matter how powerful the engine is. The car's not going anywhere.
That's it right there. If your fuel line, your metabolic system is broken because you haven't eaten well, or you're dehydrated, or you haven't slept, the car will not run at peak performance. You can try to put a bigger engine in, add more muscle, but the car won't go any faster. In fact, it's more likely to blow up.
So the flexible approach is basically the pit crew chief, looking at all the data from the car and deciding what to work on.
The coach is the crew chief. He
Yeah.
looks at the data, whether it's from a force plate or just from talking to you, and he says, okay, his engine looks fine today, but his driver, his nervous system, is half asleep. So we're not going to work on the engine today. We're going to do something to wake up the driver. We fix the bottleneck in the system.
And if you ignore that bottleneck, if you just keep revving the engine while the driver's asleep,
You enter what I call zombie mode.
zombie mode.
Yeah,
That sounds like where careers go to die.
it is. This is where athletes get stuck on plateaus for years or suffer those nagging non-contact injuries. Biologically, this is all about the hormone cortisol.
The stress hormone.
The stress hormone. It's necessary for life. We need it to wake up in the morning. But in chronically high doses, it is what we call catabolic. That means it breaks things down.
It eats muscle.
It literally breaks down your hard-earned protein tissue, your muscle, to create emergency glucose for your brain to use as fuel. It's a survival mechanism from our caveman days.
Right.
If your body is already under high stress from the game, from travel, from life, from lack of sleep, your cortisol levels are already elevated. If you then go into the gym and do a brutal, high-intensity grinder workout that you're not ready for, you spike cortisol through the roof.
So I'm in the gym working out thinking I'm building muscle, but the chemical environment inside my body is actually stripping muscle off my bones to survive the workout.
You are working your butt off to get smaller, weaker, and fatter because high cortisol also signals the body to store fat. That is zombie mode. You are the walking dead. You're going through the motions, but you're actively decaying.
That right there might be the single most powerful argument for flexible training. It's a system designed to keep you out of that zombie zone, to make sure that when we train, we are in an anabolic or building state, not a catabolic or breaking state.
The goal must always be to stimulate, not annihilate.
So we've covered the what, the why, and the how. It all makes logical sense, but I can still hear that voice of the old school coach in the back of my head. He's yelling, "This is too complicated. Just tell the kid to shut up and lift." Why isn't every single team and athlete training this way?
Honestly, because it's hard. It's harder to manage. It requires constant communication and thinking. It's incredibly easy to print out one PDF program in January and hand it to 25 different guys and just say, go do this, good luck.
It puts a bigger burden on the coach to be engaged.
A much bigger burden. But it also puts a burden on you, the athlete. It requires honesty. It requires self-awareness. If you lie and say you feel great when you really don't, because of ego, you're going to get hurt. And if you lie and say you feel terrible when you're actually just feeling a bit lazy, you're not going to get better.
It demands a true professional mindset.
That's the edge. This whole system moves you from being a renter of your training program to an owner of your career. You're not just a soldier blindly following orders anymore. You are an active partner in the decision-making process.
And when you look at the long game, a full season, a full career, this all comes back to consistency, doesn't it?
Consistency over intensity.
Yeah.
Every single time. I would much rather have an athlete train at 80% quality 4 days a week for the entire 6-month season than a guy who tries to go 100% every day, burns out completely by June, and then quits lifting for the last 3 months of the season.
And we see that happen all the time.
Yeah.
Guys just stop lifting in August and September because they say they're too tired.
And then their performance falls off a cliff in the playoffs. With a flexible nonlinear approach, because we always have the option to pivot down to a recovery or mobility session, you never have to quit entirely. If you're exhausted, we pivot. But you still showed up, you still maintained the habit, you still got blood flow to your muscles, you stayed available.
Availability is the best ability.
It is the only ability that actually gets you paid. By intelligently managing your fatigue and avoiding that state of overreaching, digging that deep hole, you stay healthier. You avoid the majority of those non-contact injuries, the pulled hamstrings, the oblique strains, the back tweaks.
And it builds trust, too. When an athlete knows the coach isn't going to force them to do something stupid that could get them hurt, they're more likely to go all in on the days they actually feel good.
That trust is everything. It's a two-way street.
Okay, let's wrap this deep dive up. We've smashed the calendar fallacy. We've explained the troops and why you need to make that expensive phone call to the special forces. We've looked at the nested systems and why you're only as strong as your weakest link.
And hopefully we've completely killed the idea that this is chaos. It's not chaos at all. It's precision navigation.
It's steering the ship through a storm.
The ocean is chaotic. The baseball season is a storm. If you lock the ship's steering wheel in one position at the start of the journey and refuse to move it because that's the plan, you're going to capsize the second the first big wave hits you.
Right.
Flexible training is simply having the skill and the permission to constantly adjust the wheel to ride the waves. You still get to the final destination, but you get there in one piece.
I love that. Steering through the storm.
It might look random and erratic to someone watching from the shore, but for the captain on the inside, it's the only safe way to travel.
So, to the athlete listening to this right now, whether you're on the team bus heading to the stadium or you're just sitting in your car in the parking lot about to go train, the message is don't panic when the workout on the sheet changes. Don't worry if you have to default down to a lighter day. You aren't losing. You aren't being soft.
You're being a professional. You're being smart.
Communicate with your strength coach. Be honest about how you're feeling. Trust the pivot.
And I think we can boil this entire conversation, this whole deep dive, down to one simple golden rule. If you take nothing else away from this, remember this.
What is it?
Train hard when you can. Train smart when you can't. Never, ever waste a day.
There it is. Thanks for topping it up with us on the deep dive. Now go check your battery, check in with your troops, and get the right lift in for today. We'll see you next time.